Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Bhagavad Gita class. We'll start with the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimira Andhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padana Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupagam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यं जगन्नाथाय ते नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण तो हमरा sorry we are continuing the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And the 14th chapter speaks about the three modes of material nature. Yes. So we are discussing this last six chapters of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is the Jnana Shatak. The first six chapters, chapters 1 to 6, they are predominantly discussing about Karma Yoga. And Krishna is enumerating different yogic methods and comparing them. At the end of the sixth chapter, 6.47, Krishna says, Yoginam api sarvesham madgati nantaratmanaha shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamomata. So among all the different kinds of yogis, Bhakti Yogi is the topmost because he is most intimately connected with me. In the middle six chapters, 7 to 12, Krishna discussed this science of devotional service in great detail. And then the last six chapters, chapters 13 to 18, these six chapters is predominantly discussing about Jnana Yoga. So in the 13th chapter, we have seen the nature, enjoyer, and consciousness, the relation between Jiva, Ishvara, and Prakriti. And the main key sentence of this chapter is the Jiva can only desire, Paramatma sanctions, and the material nature executes. Now this material nature is divided in three modes of material nature. Those are Sattva, Raja, and Tama. Okay, and different living entities are conditioned by these modes. So that is discussed how the living entities are being conditioned by these three modes, Sattva, Raja, and Tama. Yeah, and what are the effects of this conditioning by the modes, and what is their destination after death, and what is the results of such action. So we have discussed that. Yeah, three modes of material nature. So in mode of goodness, the destination is higher planets. In mode of passion, the destination is earthly planets. And in mode of ignorance, the destination is the lower planets. And the Sattva Guna, mode of goodness, results in pious activities. And the Rajoguna results in sinful activities. And there are different characteristics like attachment to opposite gender, fruitive desire too much. These are the characteristics of Rajoguna. Characteristics of Sattva-guna is pious activity and knowledge and happiness. And the characteristics of Tamoguna is Nidra, Pramada, Alasya. So Nidra means laziness, and sleeping, intoxication. These are the characteristics of mode of ignorance. So we have seen them. Now Krishna will speak in this section 19 to 27 how to transcend this conditioning by the three modes. Whatever we are doing in this world, they are results of these three modes of material nature. Sometimes the sattva guna is activated and we experience sattva qualities. Okay, uh, we are very happy, contented, and we seek for knowledge. So that means we are in sattva guna. Sometimes we are overactive and we do not think properly before acting. That is the sign of mode of passion. Overactive and I am attached to the results of the action. So that is rajoguna. And in tamoguna, there is no thinking and no activities, only laziness, and this is called tamoguna. So this is how we have seen the three modes of material nature are working. And in this picture also we can see that these three modes of material nature are controlling the living entities. Why the living entities are being controlled by the three modes? Because they, out of their karma, they came to this material world and they try to enjoy in this material world. And the principle is a living entity is always subordinate. Either it will be subordinate to the Yogamaya potency of the Lord, or it has to be subordinate to the Mahamaya potency of the Lord. The Jiva is always subordinate to the energies of the Lord. So once a Jiva takes shelter of the superior energy or the internal energy, which is Radharani or Yogamaya, the living entity is called Mahatma. Mahatmanastu Mam Partha Daivim Prakriti Mashrita Bhajanti Ananya Manasho Gyatpa Bhutadi Mabhyam. So this living entity takes shelter of Radharani and does bhajan, engages in devotional service of the Supreme Lord. And this devotional service, by practice of this devotional service, all the different karmic reactions are burnt into ashes. So that is about the Mahatmas who take shelter of the internal energy of the Lord. And then there are people who take shelter of the Mahamaya potency of the Lord, and they are generally Asuras. They do not abide by the laws of the God. Okay. And they do not engage in devotional service. They think themselves independent, but actually they are being controlled by the Mahamaya potency of the Lord. And this Mahamaya is three gunatmika, Sattva, Rajatama. And thus the living entities are being controlled by the three modes. So it's not that it's a arrangement of the God that we will be controlled by these three modes. So whatever activity we are doing, we are not responsible. These three modes are actually doing. We may say like that to avoid our responsibility. And there is a verse in Gita also. We may quote that verse. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. So only ahankara vimudatma, once whose intelligence is stolen by this ahankar or false ego, that person thinks that I am the doer. But actually, the three modes of material nature is the doer. So we may use this verse as an excuse. But actually, it is due to our desire we came to this material world and we are being controlled by the three modes. So it's not an arrangement of the Supreme Lord by which we are being controlled by the three modes and we are helpless. So even if we want to practice devotional service, we cannot do because we are being controlled by the energies of the Lord. No, it's not the fact. It's our mistake. We chose Maya instead of Krishna. In every step of our life, we have this free will or choice, whether we choose the devotees or Vaishnavas or Krishna or scriptures, or we choose our mind. You see, always our mind is opposite, telling us opposite thing to the sadhus. The sadhus will say us to walk on the path of dharma, follow the scriptures. But our mind generally demands something which is not very aligned with the scriptures, generally in the conditioned state. And the day when the mind will demand something from you which is approved by the scriptures, that means you are already purified. We have become a devotee of the Lord. Therefore, my mind is now purified and the mind is giving good suggestions, dharmic suggestions. But in general, 99.99% percentage of people in this world, Their mind is not controlled and they are not Mahatmas. So generally the mind will suggest you something which is very different from the scriptures and what the devotees say, what the Supreme Lord is telling us to do. So in every step we have the choice to listen to the Vaishnavas or to the mind. So it is our free will by which we generally choose the mind. Whatever the mind says, we generally execute that. But that's not an attitude of a yogi. A yogi should control the mind with intelligence. Uddharet atman atmanam natmanam avashadet atmaiv atmano bandhu atmaiv ripuratmanah bandhuratmat manastasya janatvaivat manajitah anatmanastu satrute vartet atmaiva shatruvat jitatmana prasantasya paramatma samahita shuchitasna sukha dukheshu tatha manapamanayo. So this is how we have to control the mind. Mind can become our enemy also. If the mind is not controlled, mind is our best friend also, if it is controlled. So it is our duty to control the mind. And what is the best way to control the mind? If you follow Ashtanga Yoga, controlling the mind is very difficult. But Krishna has given us this very practical, easy way in Kali Yuga of devotional service. By practicing the devotional service, very easily we can control the mind, just like Ambarish Maharaj is doing. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayor vacham shivai kuntha gunanuvarnane करव हरेर मंदिर मर्जनादिशो श्रुतिम चकारच्युत सत्कथोदये मुकुंद लिंगालय दर्शने दृशो तद्वृत्त गात्र स्पर्शेंग संगमम घ्राणं च तत्पाद सरोज सौरभे श्रीमत्तुलस्यारसनं तदर्पिते पादौ हरेर क्षेत्र पदानुसर्पणे शिरो ऋषिकेश पदाविवन्दने कामं च दास्येन तु काम कामया यथोत्तम श्लोक जनाश्रय रतिः. So this is how Ambarish Maharaj is dovetailing all the different senses and mind in glorification and service of the Supreme Lord. And this is called devotional service. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. If we utilize our indriyas, Rishikas, or the senses and the mind in the service of the Rishikesh or Lord Krishna, then by the mercy of Krishna, mind will be controlled. Okay. So now we have discussed about these three modes of material nature and the conditioning. And we have also understood that this is not something that Krishna is doing with us. Krishna is activating the three modes and we are being controlled by the three modes. No, it was our choice initially. If we choose Krishna, then three modes will not affect us. Okay, if we do not choose Krishna, then automatically we are being controlled by the Mahamaya potency of the Lord, and then three modes will control us. Okay, so now all the materialistic activity and the problematic activity is done when we are in the three modes. So what is the best way? Perform devotional service. Then we can transcend the three modes of material nature, this Tamoguna, Rajoguna, and Sattva-guna, and we can be established in the mode of pure goodness or Vishuddha Satyam. That is the transcendental platform. And generally the Supreme Lord, Krishna, is always in Vishuddha Satyam. And generally the devotees, the pure devotees of the Lord, they are also in Vishuddha Satyam. And in that stage, they are directly connected with Krishna. So whatever they are doing in their life, Krishna is inspiring them directly. So it cannot be wrong. And therefore, they do not suffer in this world. So this is the way how to cross beyond the three modes of material nature. Now let's hear from the verses of Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna says in this section, 19 to 27. नान्यं गुणेभ्य कर्तारं यदा द्रष्टानुपश्यति गुणेभ्यश्च परं वेत्ति मद्भावं शोधिगच्छति. When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these three modes of material nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. So this is a recap of the 13th chapter. In 13th chapter, the key sentence was, the Jiva desires, Paramatma sanctions, and material nature executes. So Krishna says that a truly intelligent person, a yogi, a jnani, that person will know that everything is being done by the modes of material nature, but it is being done because of the desire of the soul and because of the sanction of the Supreme Lord. but the performer is the three modes of material nature. If one is having this knowledge and this proper understanding, then such a person will surely engage in devotional service. And by engaging in devotional service, he will attain my spiritual nature. So there are some things missing. See, here the devotional service is not there, but you can infer. Krishna in other places, he says that who can attain my spiritual nature? Okay, this is how you can read between the lines. There are so much things Krishna is not telling us. And if you have the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, you can infer those things. Because Krishna only spoke this Bhagavad Gita in 48 minutes. So Krishna is telling, by knowing this tattva of jiva desires and Supreme Lord sanctions and material nature executes, you can attain my spiritual nature. How is this possible? So Krishna says in the 8th chapter, Antakale cha mameva smarana muktva kalevaram japrayadishu madbhavam jatinastatra samshaya. So if you can remember me at the end of your life, during leaving your body, you will attain my nature. Okay, this is one verse. And to do that, what you have to do? In the next verse, Krishna says, Jam jam babi smaran bhavam tajatante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kwantiya sadat bhava bhavita. But if you cannot think of me at the point of death, if you think of something else, then you will attain that nature. Okay. So how to avoid that? In the next verse, Krishna says 8.7, 8.567, these three verses. Tashmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anushmara yuddha cha mayyarpita mano buddhir mam evaishyashi ashamshaya. Always think of me. Therefore, throughout your life, always think of me and execute your material duties also. But at the same time, do not forget your spiritual life. If you practice spiritual life throughout your entire life, then at the end of your life, you will be able to remember me. This is one statement from Krishna. So Krishna is telling to remember Krishna, and remembrance is one form of devotional service. How do you know that? From Prahlad Maharaj. Shravanam kirtanam Vishnu Shmaranam Padashevanam Archanam Vandanam Dashyam Shakhyam Atmani Vedanam Iti Pumsharpita Vishnu Bhaktischinnavalakshana Kriyate Bhagavati Yadha Tanmanne Dhitam Uttamam. So Prahlad Maharaj is telling these are the prominent 9 limbs of devotional service. In another place, 9.34 and also in 18.65, Krishna says, Manmanabhava madbhakto madja jimam namaskaro mame vaishyashi satyam te pratijane priyoshime. So, mame vaishyashi yuktaivam atmanam matparayana. In 2 places, Krishna says the same verse in a slightly different way. So, Krishna is saying, Manmanabhava, always think of me, remember me. Bhava madbhakto, become my devotee. Madjaji, worship me. And mam namaskuru, offer obeisance unto me. By doing this, you will attain me without any fail. So here we also understand that Krishna is telling emphatically in Bhagavad Gita that without devotion and service, you cannot come to me. Bhaktiya mam abhijanati javan jaschasmi tatvata tato mam tatvato gatva vishate tad anantaram. Only by devotional service I can be known. 18.55. So in a lot of places Krishna has spoken this. So that means when we know this knowledge, so this is the point of this last 6 chapters. Knowledge will help you to surrender unto Krishna and perform devotional service. The main message of Bhagavad Gita is devotional service. In the initial chapters, karma is described how karma can help your devotional service. In the last 6 chapters, jnana is discussed how jnana can help your devotional service. And this is how jnana helps you in devotional service. If you know this fact that jiva can only desire, material nature is the actual executor, and Paramatma is sanctioning. So that means only thing which I have in my hand is to desire. If I desire to do sense gratification, I will be falling in Maya and the 3 modes of material nature will control me and I will commit sinful activities. I will have to suffer karma. If I just change the desire that I just want to serve Krishna, then material nature will facilitate me to serve Krishna. My hands, my other senses, my mind, intelligence, will be engaged in Krishna's service. So this is how only by changing the desire. So this desire is the root cause of our problem. If we desire for sense gratification, enjoying this world, then there is a lot of problem. If we change that desire to serve Krishna, then this world will become Vaikuntha for us. In the next verse, Krishna says, Gunanetan atitya tri dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukher vimukta mritamashnute. When the embodied being is able to transcend the three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. So, see, all the living entities in this world are suffering from these problems: birth, old age, disease, death. These are the prominent problems. No one can escape. And therefore, all the living entities are not happy in this world. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. From this condition, one can go to this condition of life. They can enjoy nectar even in this life. After this life, there is nectar. The person will go back to Krishna's abode spiritual world, and there is a lot of nectarian happiness. But even in this life, you can enjoy. And what you have to do? When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body. So all the happiness, all transcendental happiness lies when you transcend beyond these modes. Just like a prisoner, once the prisoner is bound by the ropes, he cannot enjoy. Once the prisoner is liberated, he can enjoy actual life. Similarly, we think we are not bound by ropes. So we can enjoy freely, but that's not the fact. We are bound by the invisible ropes of Sattva, Raja, and Tama. And once we are liberated from these three ropes or gunas, then we can enjoy the actual happiness. And in comparison to that happiness, this happiness is worthless. Nothing. So therefore, a liberated person takes pity on the normal conditioned souls. A conditioned soul thinks that I am very happy. I am studying, I am doing my job, maintaining family, I am going for outing in the weekends, and I'm enjoying my life. No problem. So a liberated person knows that this is nothing. So just like, if I give an example, you will be able to understand. So suppose we are human beings and we see the lower animals like hogs and dogs. So they are eating from the dustbin. The hog is eating stool. And they are also thinking they are very happy in their condition. Just like we are thinking we are happy. They think they are also very happy. So a hog who is eating stool feels like this is the best meal. This is the best food. But because we have a better consciousness, we are human beings, we can understand how painful is that situation. But because the hog is having a lower consciousness, it is not able to understand the problem. So similarly, in our human life also, sometimes our consciousness is so low that we are not even able to understand the problem. We think everything is fine. But we do not have any information that there is much higher happiness, higher taste of life. We have not got that higher taste. So therefore, sometimes if you see in ISKCON, the restaurants are named higher taste. In Bangalore, I remember there was a restaurant, the higher taste. So Krishna says in one verse, 2.59, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina raso varjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. So in this verse, Krishna talks about param rasa. Rasa means taste. So once you take this Krishna consciousness seriously and you experience the nectar of Krishna consciousness, you get the higher taste, and then everything in this world seems to be so useless. But there is one condition. Initially, you will not get any happiness out of this Krishna consciousness. Initially, it will feel like boring activity, and so we have to force ourselves initially. Then once our heart is cleansed little bit, then we will be able to experience the joy of Krishna consciousness. After that, we will not like anything in this material world. Everything will seem to be very useless. And gradually we will be becoming a sthita pragya, or a self-realized soul who only does duty in this material world. There is no attachment with this material world. And our only attachment will be established with Krishna. This is very scientific. See, in current stage, we are very attached to the material pleasures. Why? Because that is the only pleasure we know about. But once we start practicing Krishna consciousness sincerely, we also experience the higher taste of Krishna consciousness. Then we are attached to that rasa, higher taste. And then we can leave this lower rasa or lower pleasures of this material world. So transcending the modes is a very essential step to experience the nectarian pleasure. Now Arjuna is asking, Arjuna uvacha kairlingya gunan etan atito bhavati prabho kimachara katham chaitan gunan ativartate. Arjuna is asking very eagerly, so Lord, how can I cross these three modes of material nature? You are telling us that all happiness lies beyond the three modes. How to cross these three modes of material nature? Oh my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior and how does he transcend the three modes of nature? So Arjuna is asking, is there a person in our day-to-day life we can observe someone who has crossed these three modes of material nature? What are the symptoms? How can I understand that, oh, this person has crossed the three modes of material nature, this person hasn't? How do I discriminate? What are the symptoms and how that person crosses the three modes of material nature? This is very similar to Arjuna's question in the second chapter, where Arjuna asked about the Sthita Pragya. Sthita Pragyasya Kavasha Samadhistasya Keshava. How Sthita, what is the behavior and the symptoms of Sthita Pragya, self-realized soul? Same thing. And Krishna is answering. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Prakashamscha Pravittimcha Mohamevacha Pandava Na Dvesti Sampravittani Na Nivrittani Kankshati Udashina Vadashina Guneriyo Na Vichalyate Gunavartanta Ityevam Yo Vatishtati Nengate Samadukha Shukas Swastha Sama Lostasma Kanchana Tulya Priya Priyo Dhiras Tulya Nindatma Samstutihi Manapamanayo's Tulya Mitrari Pakshayoho Sarvarambha Parityagi Gunatita Sa Uchate. So Krishna is describing the qualities of Gunatita. Guna Jukta Atita. Atita means one who has transcended the three modes of material nature. These are the symptoms of such a person. Gunatita Sa Uchate. Who is called a Gunatita? The Supreme Person of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present, or long for them when they disappear. So, a Sthita Pragya is not attached to anything, not detached to anything, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental. Knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye. So generally a kami person, a karmi person will think, oh, this is gold, so this is very useful. Let me collect as much as possible. And then I can sell, I can make money and do sense gratification. Oh, this is stone, let me throw it out. The stone is of no use to me. Gold is of use to me. But Sthita Pragya thinks both are transformation of earth and I have nothing to do with this material world. I want to get liberated and I want to go to the spiritual world and serve my Lord. What I have to do with gold? In my case, the gold is similar to the stone, who is equal towards the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor. So such a person is equal in all conditions. Sometimes happiness will come, sometimes distress will come. This person is not agitated. Sometimes people will honor, sometimes the same people will be blaspheming that person. But a Sthita Pragya is not disturbed. He knows that I have nothing to do with these things. Whether people are glorifying me or blaspheming me, I have no problem. I am just here to execute devotional service unto Lord. So a devotee does not mind honor or dishonor. For example, we see Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj is a devotee, great devotee, and Prahlad Maharaj is glorified in all the scriptures. But there is other devotees of the Lord, like Bhishmadev. Bhishmadev is glorified up to some extent, but some people blame Bhishmadev also. That Bhishma, if he is a pure devotee, then why Bhishma is taking the side of the Kauravas? And Bhishma was silent when Draupadi was being disrobed. So Bhishma is here with a very critical mission. when the Supreme Lord comes, he gives us different teachings through different devotees. So the Supreme Lord wanted to give the teaching that however powerful you be, if you are taking the side of adharma, you will be destroyed. So Krishna needed some devotees to exemplify this principle. But that devotee will be highly criticized because that devotee has to take the side of adharma. So Bhishma took that role for Krishna's pleasure. Bhishma is ready to take up this blasphemy. People will criticize. So devotee is ready to take up that criticism for the service of the Lord. Similarly, Lord Shiva, for the service of the Lord, preached the Mayavad theory. In the Mayavad, Krishna instructed Lord Shiva, Dvaparado juge bhutva kalaya manushadishu swagamai kalpitaistam cha janan madbhimukhan kuru. To segregate the devotees from the non-devotees, Krishna instructed Lord Shiva that you preach the Mayavad philosophy. And those who want to become God, they are not actually devotees, but they are in disguise of a devotee. So they will be segregated, they will be attracted towards your false philosophy. But for this fact, all the Vaishnavas criticize Shankaracharya and Mayavad. And Lord Shiva is ready to take that. So this is the example of Sthita Pragya, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the three modes of nature. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, we are discussing about Ambarish Maharaj in the 9th canto, right? So we see that Durvasa is trying to kill Ambarish Maharaj, acting like an enemy. But Ambarish Maharaj is treating him also with great respect. And we will see what will happen in the next Srimad Bhagavatam class. So this is the nature of pure devotees. The pure devotees, they are above the three modes, and the material conditions they cannot affect a pure devotee. Now this is the $1 million verse where Krishna gives the solution. How to cross the three modes. Now Krishna was giving the introduction before this verse, that what will happen if you cross the three modes of material nature. What is the necessity of crossing the three modes of material nature? How the three modes of material nature is conditioning you. And this is the essence of this chapter. Krishna is giving the solution, how to cross the three modes of material nature. Mam chayo abhyavicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So here you see there is a little comma like thing. We may read the verse as Mamchayo Vyavicharena, but actually it is Avyavicharena. The meaning is completely different. So what happens here? Sandhi principle is happening. You see in the word to word, Avyavicharena is given. So Yaha plus Avyavicharena. So due to some Sandhi Sutra, Adarama Gopale Uranityam and Eobhyam Haro Vishnu Padante. Eobhyam Asha Haro Vishnu Padante. Jiva Goswami explains the Sandhi Sutras in Harinamamrita Vyakaranam. So after a Visarga, if A is coming, then this Visarga will be converted to O. So Yaha will become Yo. And after a Yo, if A comes, then A will become Lupta A. And this is the sign of a Lupta. In Sanskrit, this is the sign Avagraha. This is called Avagraha. So this is why the verse is read like this. This part we will not pronounce. Therefore, this is called Lupta A. Mamchayo Vyavicharena. Mamchayo Vyavicharena. But by seeing this Avagraha or this comma, we have to understand that here is a Lupta A. Actual word was Abhyavicharena. So Vyavicharena means Vyavicharini Bhakti means sometimes I am attracted to Krishna, sometimes I am attracted to others, the demigods. My bhakti is not one-pointed. That is called Vyavicharini Bhakti. Abhyavicharini Bhakti is the opposite. One-pointed attention, focus, and one-pointed devotional service unto Krishna. So that one-pointed devotional service is required. Mam chayo abhyavicharena bhakti yogena sevate. One who serves me by abhyavicharini bhakti yoga. Sa gunan samatitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. That person is able to cross the three modes of material nature, and he is situated in the Brahma Bhuta platform or the Vishuddha Sattva platform. crossing the three modes of Sattva, Raja and Tama. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the three modes of material nature and thus come to the level of Brahman. And Krishna will say in this 18th chapter that from this platform my bhakti starts. Brahma bhuta prasannatma nasho chatina kankshati shama sarveshu bhuteshu madbhakti labhate param. In this stage, when you become free from the three modes of material nature, actual bhakti, premamai bhakti starts from that. Bhakti starts from very initial stage also. When you are conditioned by the three modes, bhakti is needed. Otherwise, you cannot cross beyond the three modes. So bhakti only takes you from the three modes to beyond three modes. But once you are in the Brahma Bhutas platform, Vishuddha Sattva platform, beyond the three modes, actual bhakti starts. And that bhakti is very, very joyous, nectarian, because there is no bondage of the three modes. So you are a liberated soul and you can connect with Krishna with great intensity. Brahmano hi pratishthaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya kantikasya cha. And I am the basis of impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. So generally, what is told that once we cross beyond this material world, let me show you the Goloka chart. So currently, we are bound by the three modes of material nature, and we are in this material world. Okay. Once by devotional service, we cross the three modes of material nature, what will happen? It's not that immediately we will die and we will go to the spiritual world. No. There is a stage called Jivan Mukta. Suppose in this very lifetime, you are purified, completely purified. And now you are not bound by the three modes of material nature. Then you will roam around this material world being a pure devotee. And this is called Jivan Mukta platform. That you are Jivita, you are living, but actually you have crossed the three modes of material nature. And this is the stage of Sthita Pragya, self-realized soul, Jivan Mukta, different names you can say. And then after you leave the body, you will go to the spiritual world. But there is another possibility. One possibility is you can also end up in Brahma Jyoti. So what is the qualification to enter Brahma Jyoti? If you are able to cross the three modes of material nature and you are situated in the Brahma Bhuta platform, then you can come to this Brahma Jyoti. But if you have developed some devotion towards the lotus feet of Lakshmi Narayan or Radha Krishna or Sita Ram, then you will be able to go to the spiritual planets. Okay. So going to the spiritual planets of Vaikuntha and Golok Vrindavan requires additional layer of eligibility, that is developing devotion towards Radha and Krishna. Okay, deep devotion towards Radha and Krishna. But somehow, if you are able to cross the three modes of material nature, then you will end up in Brahma Jyoti. Now, you may question that before coming to this Brahma Jyoti or Brahma Bhuta platform, I have to practice devotional service. Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, Mam cha yo abhyavicharena bhakti yogena sevate sa gunan samatittaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So the thing is that if you are coming to Brahma Bhuta platform by practicing devotional service, then you already have that qualification of devotion and you will be directly going to the spiritual world. But there are some people who try to cross the three modes of material nature without devotion, by gyan, by studying the scriptures, by understanding I am not this body, I am soul. Okay, by this kind of things, and by abandoning the material activities. So basically they are following Jnana Yoga. If you take the Jnana Marga and not the Bhakti Marga, then you do not have the devotional qualification. You only have, by Jnana Yoga also you can cross the three modes of material nature. Although Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita 12.5, that klesho adhikataras tesham. For a jnana yogi, it is very difficult to cross the three modes of material nature. But it is possible. Theoretically, it is possible. Practically impossible. So, if we, for the sake of argument, we analyze the theoretical case that by Jnana Yoga, you are able to cross the three modes of material nature. Then you come to Brahma Jyoti. But if you cross the three modes of material nature by Bhakti, then you directly go to the spiritual planets. So once you come to Brahma Jyoti, that is the destination of Jnani. A Jnani cannot enter the spiritual planets because he does not have Bhakti. So after staying for some time, the Jnani comes back to the material world, does devotional service, and then goes back to the spiritual world. This is how it happens. And also sometimes while floating in this Brahma Jyoti, they come in the association of Lord Sadashiv, and Sadashiv preaches them, and they go to the spiritual planets. By the preaching of Sadashiv, they perform devotional service. They become devotionally inclined towards Krishna or Narayan. This is how they go to the spiritual planets. Now, in the last verse, Krishna says that Brahmano hi pratisthaham. I, as Krishna, as Syam Sundar Krishna, I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman. So you may practice Jnana Yoga and end up in impersonal Brahman or Brahma Jyoti, but you should know that I am the basis of that impersonal Brahman. So that Brahman is not the last word in spiritual realization. Beyond the Brahman, there is Bhagavan. And Srimad Bhagavatam explains this very nicely, that the realization of the Supreme Lord happens in three phases. Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattam yajnanamadmayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdate. Brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdate. So the first step in God realization is Brahman. Brahman is the preliminary stage of God realization. Then Paramatma realization. So Brahman is realized by the Jnanis. Paramatma is realized by the yogis or Ashtanga yogis. Both of them is not possible. Jnana Yoga, Krishna says it is very difficult, so I do not recommend you practicing Jnana Yoga. In the 6th chapter, Krishna explained about Ashtanga Yoga and Arjuna rejected. Arjuna told, this is impossible for me. This is too hard. If it is hard for Arjuna, it is impossible for us. So Jnana Yoga, Krishna is not recommending. And Ashtanga Yoga, Arjuna is not recommending. Only recommendation of both Arjuna and Krishna is the Bhakti Yoga. And Bhakti Yoga is so powerful that we can realize the supreme feature, the Bhagavan feature of the Lord. And Lord is explaining that only. That the destination of the Jnanis is Brahman, but destination of the Bhaktas are Bhagavan. And that Bhagavan is the source of this Brahman. So Krishna is reconfirming the previous statement that in verse number 26, Krishna only prescribed Bhakti Yoga. There is no mention of Jnana. But we discussed that theoretically it is possible that by Jnana Yoga also we can cross the three modes of material nature. So now Krishna is justifying why Krishna did not mention this Jnana Yoga in verse number 26. So that explanation is, why do you need Jnana Yoga? Because the way I have given you Bhakti Yoga, by Bhakti Yoga you will know me, and I am the source of the destination of the Jnanis. I am the source of Brahman. So verse number 27 is justifying verse number 26. Why Krishna did not give any mention? Krishna did not mention Jnana Yoga, because Krishna has given you a superior and more practical way of God realization. So this is how in this 14th chapter Krishna explained about the three modes of material nature and how the three modes condition us, what are their characteristics, what is the effect. If you die in the three modes, suppose you are not able to elevate yourself beyond the three modes, what will happen to you? And then what is the importance of going beyond the three modes, and what is the way of transcending the three modes? Okay. So this is a very important chapter and very important concept to be covered. In the next class, we will discuss about chapter 15, the yoga of the Supreme Person, Purushottama Yoga. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions? Hope you are understanding all the concepts. If possible, write it down so that you do not forget. And this will help you when you study yourself Bhagavad Gita. Because it's a weekly class, we cannot cover the purports, but purports are most important. So you should read Bhagavad Gita yourself. And we have got this beautiful human form of life. We have got the association of devotees. We are born after Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada has nicely translated all these books. So please reserve some hours of your daily schedule for Krishna. Otherwise, we will have to suffer. We will lament. Okay, there is a song by Bhakti Vinod Thakur that Ebena Bhojila Jashoda Shuta Charame Podive Laje. If you do not worship Krishna now, getting this precious human form of life, you will lament later that what mistake I have done. So all the material activities for all of us, these are required. Every one of us are either studying or doing job, maintaining family, doing business. We all have to do them, but we are doing those activities for millions of lifetimes. We have to remember those are not anything new. So intelligently, we have to craft our life in such a way that we have ample time to spend for Krishna. That will bring the fulfillment in our life. Otherwise, we are reading this Bhagavad Gita, which is revealing all the universal secrets. The universe is designed in such a way that you cannot become happy only by doing material activities. So, intelligent person will reserve a specific time, a good amount of time for Krishna. The devotees who are very sincere, they at least keep 2 hours for chanting and 1 hour for doing personal sadhana like reading or hearing. So at least 3 hours we need to spend. If we are not chanting 16 rounds, gradually we should come to that level. And we should not do over endeavor in our material life. Otherwise, what we will do? We will lose the diamond and we are chasing after some broken pieces of glasses. These material pleasures are nothing in compared to Krishna. So we have to prioritize Krishna in our life. The whole auspicious Damodar month is also going on. This is an opportunity for all of us to elevate our devotional service to a new level. So all the best and best wishes for all of you. My sincere prayers that let's pray for each other so that we can serve Krishna in a better way and make our human life successful. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. We'll see you next week.